Hi everyone, welcome to week 4 of your Advanced Computers 3 course. We're going to be finishing up chapter 2 this week on developing your presentations. So we kind of just looked a little bit last week at how to create how to use a template, and then how to create a template in outline view, and how to kind of just basically just kind of getting started, I guess you could say. And so what we're going to pick up with this week is how we can reuse slides. So this is a great way to import slides from another file without having to open it. And this is great if you're going to be doing a presentation, similar presentations over and over again, but just to different audiences maybe and things like that. So that's what this is going to show you about, how to use that and just basically pull those in so that you can reuse them. It's going to allow you to select a section of slides or a group of slides so that you can create that selection and add that as well. Now it's going to go on and talk to a little bit about design principles. And one of the real important things that you want to make sure that you're doing is that you're choosing elements that are appropriate for the audience. You don't want to make things look too babyfied. So for example, here's, a template, welcome to the 3rd grade. Now you're obviously not going to want to use something like that for college students or even high school students. So you want to make sure that it's appropriate for your audience. Here's an example of one that's more appropriate for a business, right? So you don't want cartoon type things. You want it to look more professional. We actually have a template that we're required to use at my job, so that we're all kind of, look the same and talk the same, so to speak. Here's another principle. You want to make sure that you keep everything neat and clean. Keep it sweet and simple, they call it. And the idea here is you don't want things to be too busy. Leaving white space is not bad. It's okay to not have something all over your entire slide. You want to make it something so that they can focus in on what's the important piece here, right? And it kind of leads into the 3rd principle. What is the focal point? What do we want them to think about? What should be the main area of interest? If you have a picture, the picture needs to take you to the focal point. You don't want some goofy cartoon that takes away from the actual focal point of that particular slide. Principle number 4 is to make sure that you keep things unified. In other words, you want it to be consistent. And what they're trying to show you with these examples is, you've got everything from a cartoon to a real life drawing to a pen and ink drawing. You want them all to be the same. So you want them to be similar in style and not all over the board. Principle number 5 has to do with fonts. Again, you just don't want things to be too busy. The busier it is, the more difficult it is to read. We actually call it at my work, it's an eye chart. If you make it too small, we have an eye chart up there for you. And really, the people that are there for the presentation, it means 0 to them because they can't see it, they can't read it, whatever. So you want to make sure that your font is the right size and the right type so that they can see it and understand it. And then to kind of go along with that, you don't want to use all caps, you don't want to underline, you don't want to use a lot of bold and italics, not a lot of space after punctuation. You don't want to just leave one word hanging. All of those types of things that kind of are the same if you were writing a paper. You just don't want to do that. And then one of the last tips that they have on here is to make things readable. Again, you don't want it to be too small. You don't want it to be an eye chart for them. It makes things just way too difficult for your audience. And then finally, they're going to go into talking about how to modify a theme. Maybe you like one and you picked one, but you just don't like the colors. So there's a way to actually change it so that you can change the fonts, you can change the colors to be something a little more, maybe they don't match your, your company's colors or something like that. You can pick the color scheme that you want. So you'd still have the same theme, it just would have a different color scheme. So you can do that as well. You can also modify the slide master, which means, deciding what it's gonna look like. Is it gonna, what's that gonna, is it always gonna start with a title slide and then slides with, maybe graphs or, whatever. You can pick how you want it to set, how you want to set up your slide master as well. So as you go through this week, if you have any problems or questions, let me know, and have a great week.